Good evening, all of you. So happy to be a part of this cohort, and I would like to sincerely thank Aditya, Equalify, and all the cohort participants who have taken time out to come here today. So before just starting with the presentation, so we will just give you a brief introduction about myself and Praveen. So I head the business development for KFintech, so across business verticals, and AIF being one of the upcoming segments and new growth areas for us. And Praveen, he heads the tech platforms, and he is also the product architect for alternative investment funds and global funds. Okay. So before moving on, like as you all know, there has been a huge growth which we have seen in the last few years in the alternative investment space. There are umpteen number of AIFs which have been set up. Not only the AIFs, there has been a lot of service providers also. Earlier, it used to be an oligopolistic market as far as the service providers are concerned. But now it is moving into a perfect competition where more and more service providers are coming into this forte. So today, what we will focus on is like as a new AIF or a budding AIF, what are the areas which you should focus in selecting the service partner, and what are the key and core competencies one you should look at. And we being a cohort partner for fund accounting, so major focus will be on the fund accounting services and offerings, what we will provide. So our important aspect is like, even though you have various service offerings for alternatives, fund accounting is one thing which is the most important fulcrum for the alternative investment back office function. So what we suggest is like you should focus on your core aspects. You should try and manage your alpha being an alternate investment fund. We will do the rest of the things for you. So before moving on to the presentation, so let me just give you a brief overview of the company for 5 minutes. Then I'll just hand over to Praveen. This is going to be the flow of the presentation. So to start with, we'll just give you a brief introduction about the company. Okay. So KFin Technologies is a RTA and a market leader in investor servicing. Okay. We have close to about 180 branches across the country, and we have a global presence in Southeast Asia and few other markets as well, and multiple jurisdictions. So we manage close to about 13 crore investor accounts. We service close to about 13 crore investor accounts, 4,000 plus corporate clients, including mutual funds, public sector banks, and AIFs, PMS. And in India, we manage close to 250 odd AIFs. So main forte for us has been the platform which we use to service our customers. So we do not get into manual or any activity. We have built in a robust platform, whether it is for a transfer agency or for our fund accounting platforms. We have a very, very agile platform. And if there are any bespoke services required for an alternative investment fund, the platform is very much fungible to make any kind of modifications. So these are the few snapshots about the company. And just to give you about like who are the stakeholders in the company, it's a General Atlantic portfolio company. 74% is held by General Atlantic, and slightly less than 10% is held by Kotak Mahindra Bank. And so it is like 84% is between these two institutional investors, and balance is with other stakeholders. And you have a prominent board from Kotak. You have a board members from General Atlantic. The chairman of the company is Mr. M.B. Nair, who was ex-chairman of Union Bank of India and currently the chairman of TransUnion Sibyl as well. Ravin, you can move to the next slide. See, this is the management team of the company. So typically being a back office company, all of us would have that in mind. Like, but if you look at the spread of our management team, it is across different segments. Like it is not only on financial services or back office function. We are transforming ourselves into a more tech-fin company. That's why you see a lot of people from technology background, from financial services. So it's a wide array of experience across different domain functions is been there, and it's been headed by Srikanth Nadella. Ravin, quickly move to the next slide. And these are the different segments and business verticals we operate in. Mutual funds being the core function. So I'll not delve into each of these sections because the core area of focus is going to be AIF and hedge fund back office. So we'll confine our discussion only to AIF and hedge fund back office. So this is going to be the area of focus today. And these are the wide array of service offerings we offer to AIFs. So it's right from digital onboarding of client to, it's a transfer agency to stamp duty services, all sort of compliance support like regulatory support, compliance support, statutory tax support, all those things are being provided. And we also provide digital solutions in terms of creating web portals, distributor portals, dashboard for customers, customized portfolios on any kind of visualization also we provide. And the core being fund accounting. So that is the area of focus and pivot going to be for today's discussion. What are the areas of fund accounting which we would be focusing on? See, all said and done, now coming to the most important fact, okay, there are umpteen number of fund accounting firms. Why only K Fintech? Okay. So we have siloed approach in terms of different functions. So we cater to mutual funds, like we do fund accounting for, we provide fund accounting platform for mutual funds, insurance companies, your pension fund managers, global funds, and alternatives. So we have a dedicated team for each of these functions. And we have robust fund accounting platforms, which is called Empower, so which caters to all set of fund asset managers. So, and we have like people across different domains, and more importantly, you might operate in a different jurisdiction. So that is not a problem at all because we work in multiple shifts. So we have domain experts, and more importantly, we have close to about 6,000 odd employees. And more importantly, 900 plus employees are only in technology, providing technological support. So we have automated almost all our offerings, and it is purely a tech and platform play, and with minimal intervention of or manual intervention. So with this, I'll just hand it over to Praveen to just take over through the offerings, what we have for fund accounting for an AIF, and more specifically, what kind of platforms you use to do this fund accounting and the fund accounting engine.
Thank you. Thanks, Senthil, for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. I'll take you through the fund accounting offerings, what we have, what are the features we provide for the alternate business line. We'll discuss in next 20 minutes. If you have any questions or anything you want to ask, please drop the messages in the chat window. I'll be taking the last 10 minutes, the question and answer section. You know, the fund accounting services per se, if you see right from the fund launch till the now processed, you know, all the income expense management, asset liability management is all carried out in our system. So we have this product called Empower. So this product runs in multiple modes. So we have an operations team who does the services using the Empower, and the same Empower access will also be given to the fund manufacturers like your AIF fund managers and your CIO or CEO teams can be accessing this thing to download the reports and to view the activities what we are running at our end as part of the back office services. So that's a complete web-based application. So this web-based application handles end-to-end operations of it.
So just to also add to what Praveen said, see, more importantly, there could be certain alternate fund manager, because alternate funds are itself is unique. So each funds are different. So suppose you as an alternate fund manager, you might have some bespoke requirements. For example, you might have a different waterfall mechanism compared to others, or you might have a different performance fee calculation methodology. So all those things can be taken as bespoke requirements and can be incorporated into the system. So that is where the role of the owning a system plays an important role. Yeah, Praveen, please.
Yeah. So the main reason of improvising the system, see, Empower is not just about a solution which caters to the AIF needs. So it caters to the multiple business leads, as Senthil mentioned in the starting of the presentation. It fits for PMS solutions back office, and it fits for insurance back office. It fits for fund accounting of the mutual funds, and the foreign investments. So FPI based investments. So all this in the insurance sector. So everywhere this product fits. So the reason of making this software is to adhere some of the differentiators or to handle some of the problems which are there in the existing mode of working in the Indian or in the Southeast Asian markets. So we want to reduce less manual activity and keep most of the activities driven by the system. In the sense, for example, if you know that if for every day there are the trade file, or every day there is a market feeds which are coming from the stock exchanges or from the debt crystal exchanges, So if we can set up those triggers inside the system, so at 5 o'clock, it will go and fetch the feed files from the market, and it uploads and it completes the valuation. So this kind of autopilot mode is available in the software. So there is no person dependency. Means if a person is not uploading the market prices, valuation will not happen. That is how the market is currently. Any product, if you see, that's how the product works. Everyone has to supply the data, only then some activities are done by the systems. But here that's all automated. So there is an automation, good amount of an automation is there inside the product. So which will reduce the risk of a manual dependency or risk of missing the items. Okay, that's about this slide. And coming to the Empower is a name at which it has multiple modules in it. So some of the modules, if you see, the fund management module, dealing module, operations, and risk. So this can be used in a wide variety, in the sense you can pick and choose which are the modules you want it. You just want only the front office of this, front office in the sense the dealing and risk. So this will be called as a front office and mid office things. So the front office and mid office basically deals, dealt by the fund managers. The fund managers would like to do some transactions and do some analysis on the portfolio, and they want those transactions to be complied enough within the limit set by the regulatory bodies or the internal investment management team. So for that purpose, this limit module and risk reporting is integrated into the dealing application. So this dealing application has a order management tool right from the order placement, and the order goes to the dealer desk, and then matching process, and then it will be verified against all the limits, and then it will go to the back office. So all this is, compliance and dealing is linked here. So mainly for the front office users. So this can be a plug and play model. So if someone wants to outsource their back office operations to KFintech, but still your fund management team or your compliance team is interested to keep hold of the compliance related activities at your end, it works here. Okay, so this kind of a hybrid solution is not available in the market, either in the Indian market or in the Western markets. This kind of a product is not available. Like partially can be outsourced, partially can be still utilized by your teams. So with that note, after the front office, there is a back office activities. So the back office activities are fund management and operations. So we perform the list of activities which we have mentioned here. So this same solution will fit for category 1, category 2, and category 3 types of funds within the AIF, and even the mutual funds. The Indian mutual funds and in the Middle East, Middle East and the Southeast Asia mutual funds are all supported in this platform. So this will give you, a wide range of asset class support, asset class coverage from end to end. So for example, if you take an equity, right from an equity, and even if you want to invest into the REITs or a real estate related instruments or interest rate swaps or a currency derivatives, every product is covered in this particular application. So that's all part of the fund management. And then the operations is the back office operations, like post trade, post transactions, the accounting, the settlements, all the incomes and valuations, all is carried out in the application. Okay, I'll take you through each of this topic in the next coming slides.
Yeah. See, any of you have questions, you can just post it on the chat. So we will take up the questions post the presentation. So any questions interim also, you can just post it in the chat.
So we have a fund accounting team which performs the complete activities on your behalf. So you don't have to build your team. You have to create your own investment methodology or concentrating on getting the business. So, but we have our team who can run a fund accounting end-to-end operations for you. So our team, our KFintech FA team, is efficient enough to handle all the operations of the AIFs and the mutual funds in the industry. So the team is experienced almost from last 7 years. We are running these operations for different clients within this AIF world. So the names like an Axis, Nippon, Edelweiss, Motilal. So all these kind of ASK, these funds are all serviced by our KFintech team. So what we perform is what mentioned on the screen. So right from the transaction processing, reference data maintenance, capital processing, all accounting, corporate actions, expense management, everything is carried out at our end. So if you take a complexities of a category 2 funds, or the volume based transactions on the category 3 funds. So any kind of funds are covered in this application, or as part of our service model. So these are the end-to-end different types of, apart from the mutual funds, these are the the business lines which we cater to as part of the fund accounting operation. So our systems are multi-assets, multi-currency, and it works on the SaaS model. So we know that there are so many small AIFs who may not be in a position to completely outsource their operations, or who may not be in a position to procure a software and run their operations on their own. So for that kind of a small AIFs also, we cater to them by creating a SaaS model. SaaS model will always share the resources, whether it is an operational resources or it is an infrastructure resources. The SaaS model will come into picture. The SaaS, in the sense, it is a software as a service. So we provide that SaaS model activities so that the burden can be reduced from the cost angle. Everything can be reduced, and still you will get the high-end services using the KFinTech and our software technology.
I want to interject a bit here. So there are two models which we operate. One, we'll just provide platform to alternate investment funds, and they can use their operations teams to run their fund accounting activities. Second one is the managed services bit, where like we use the Empower as a platform to manage the services on behalf of the asset managers. So today, like unlike a mutual fund, it's not a manpower intensive industry. So today AIFs work on a very thin number of people. So typically, like most of the AIFs work on a managed services model. So today, like as we speak, we have close to about 270 odd AIFs whom we are servicing on a managed services platform using Empower. So whether it is category 1, category 2, or category 3 funds, so we take the entire data and all those things from the asset managers, and we manage the entire fund accounting back office operations.
Yeah, thank you. So this is the software. So I have mentioned in the earlier slide about the Empower has multiple modules in it. So this product is undergoing a lot of changes, and it has its own go-to path, or how we are seeing this path for the future mode for this. So what you are seeing here is the front office. FOS is meant for front office. MOS for meant of mid office and the back office systems. So these are three different modules within Empower. So these modules can be played here and there, whichever you want, you can take it, which I have mentioned to you already. And these are some of the things which are in under development, and some of them in the design, and which are already available. So it has a lot of potential to grow. So that is the reason we keep investing in this product and keep adding the features into it. So the advantage of this is, as and when we are doing the development, either for our markets or for international markets, so these features will default becomes as the services for your own funds as well. So any future requirements of your clients, if we feel that if it is can be handled as part of a product feature, instead of asking any client as a customization, we are absorbing that as our product enhancement, and we are we are owning those changes, and we are improvising the product. So this is the roadmap of the product, and what we are working and where we are working. So it has all these modules. So just to give you a clarity of so much of work we have done, and so much of work we are continuously doing on the product. Yeah. And coming to the features. So these are some of the features: the multi-currency features, integrated general ledgers, and at a portfolio level. And within portfolio, you can have multiple share classes, and all fees can be at a share class level. Complex management fee structures, complex performance fee structures. When I say performance, setting up the hurdle rates, and then identifying the profit sharing ratios, and the based on the index or based on a fixed hurdles. So everywhere, anything it works, and it has a very beautiful accounting system. So the core accounting system is so strong inside it. So the valuations and accounting are the strength of the application on the back office side, if I have to say. So it goes so seamless, and it runs hundreds of accounts, all in parallel. It gives you a provision to view your future projections of your cash flows, and you can run your valuations in whichever methodology you want. profit loss mechanism, you can do it either on a weighted average cost or a FIFO-LIFO basis. In case if you are dealing with multi-currencies, all multi-currencies also fits into it. And every currency goes through the currency revaluations on daily basis. And any income, if you see the bifurcation of an income, whether the profit and loss a sale account is one ledger, but how much you have earned in a mutual funds, how much you have earned in selling in equities or a debt instruments, that kind of breakup you will get it at a ledger level and at an accounting level. So these things makes the complete back office application. So this leaves a space for an individual to intervene and do their operations manually. So apart from the petty expenses, which cannot be, which are not a recurring expenses, has to be supplied into a system as a expense vouchers. Apart from that, most of the activities are carried by the system itself.
Yeah, just 1 second, Praveen. So there was a question from Mr. Gaurav.
Okay.
So Gaurav, just to answer your question, so here we are talking about the capabilities of the platform, and using this platform, what all we do as a fund accounting firm. So that is what we are trying to highlight. So it is not that like we are just talking about the capabilities of the platform. One second thing is, using this platform, what all functions are carried out as a fund accounting firm. So that is what we are trying to highlight here. Yeah, Praveen. So you can just focus more on like as a service provider, as a fund accounting firm, what all activities we do. This is what the slide talks about.
So as part of these activities, when we perform the fund accounting activities for all the alternates, so there are day-to-day activities. So we perform pre-OD checks as and when the day is getting completed. So even if you have the monthly NAVs or the quarterly NAVs, we still stick to the daily activities, and every day the activities, whatever is supposed to complete for those funds, will be carried out. And then we do these set of activities here. We run the daily NAV calculations, even though the declaration is on monthly basis. So CAT2 funds goes in a different way. CAT2 funds, there is no NAV concept. So we deal only with the monthly NAVs at a fund level. And even though there are multiple share classes, and we maintain investor-wise accounting balances, we maintain investor-wise NAV as well. Pre-tax and post-tax NAVs also is covered inside the system. So which is most of the CAT2 funds, they want to show the pre-tax and the post-tax NAVs and the statement of account generations at an investor levels, so that we are doing it as part of the FA services which we provide. So from a service angle, if you see, obviously the output is nothing but most of the reports which your operations team wanted, or your compliance team or your fund management team requires it. So we do have some set of reports. So these are some of the set of reports which are already there inside our systems. So apart from this, we also do the Form 64 submissions, the TDS certificates for Category 2 investors, and then yearly reporting, monthly reporting, SEBI reporting. All that is all covered as part of our AIF reports.
Praveen, like if you can elaborate, because most of them are startup AIFs. So since we have another 15 minutes time, so if you can elaborate in terms of what are the day-to-day, how the day-to-day activities starts, like being a fund accounting firm. So from an asset manager perspective, what they look up to in a fund accounting firm, and what are the activities we do. And of course, these reports, we can just go one by one in detail, but more from a alternate investment manager per se, what is that like? Is like, and moreover, somebody has asked you to explain in detail about the previous slide. If you may go to previous slide.
This slide.
Yeah. So spend some more time on this.
Or is this slide? So may know the slide which you are referring to. Is it fund accounting activities or
fund accounting activities, or one after this, next one?
Okay. So these are some of the reports. Okay. So the AIF reports, if you see here, so we have categorized the reports into multiple sections. So the financial reports. So as a fund accountant, if you see, you require a trial balance, you require a balance sheets or a profit and loss reports, or support all kinds of audits which will be conducted by the SEBI on the AIF funds. So if you have chosen a third party vendor as a partner to do an audit on your funds, on the funds what you are servicing, so KFinTech will help the audit things, means all the audit related queries will be answered, and we supply the reports whatever they need. So most of the financial reports will undergo this audit thing. So there is a summary reports and detailed reports, and the addendums of each of these, the annexures of each of these summary reports is provided by KFinTech team, and we supply and we answer all the queries of your audit firms. That's on the financial reports. And now the second set, if you see in the bottom, if you see there's a holding reports. The holding reports is like, okay, after collecting the money from the investors, so maybe you would have raised a 300 crore or 400 crore money in the market. So, and that 300, 400 crores has to be invested into different asset classes, right? So if you take a category 3, most of the money, and as per our understanding, it is going into unlisted instruments or the listed equities or the derivatives. So based on the ideology of that fund or based on the investment model of that fund. So wherever you are investing that, so what's your investments are looking like? In case if you take a category 2, most of your investments are into the debt related instruments or special purpose vehicles, so SPVs. So in such scenario, we'll be holding all those instruments inside our system, and we do the valuations, we do the accruals of those instruments. So for example, if you have invested in a bond which will give you an IRR of 25% per annum, so that 25% comprises of 14% of direct interest income and 11% of a redemption premium. And if these redemptions are happening in multiple slots, in the multiple slots in the sense multiple tenures, so handling this kind of a complex bond requires a complete system automation, and that has to be presented properly in a reporting way. So those reports are the holding reports which will come to you, from KFinTech team. So, and the online access will also be given to the platform to your team to download these things. In the similar way, the income reports, if you see, so there are multiple types of incomes which we recognize. So there are unrealized incomes, realized incomes, and accrual incomes. If you take any dividend income or the valuations, the unrealized gain and loss, after valuing your holdings with your market prices, so those incomes are all categorized here. So there are amortizations. So for example, if you are buying any bonds at a discounted instruments, or if the bond is agreed to pay you the redemption premium, so those premiums has to be amortized down the line till the maturity or till the part redemption instruments. So those incomes statements will be coming to you from our system. The similar way, the valuation reports and the capital reports, if you see, so the capital reports mainly speaks about what all the capital is coming into this fund. So from the fund books, maybe 400 crores, you have raised it from 400 set of investors. So those 400 set of investors belonging to different share classes. So each share class can be, if your expense ratio is different between share classes, so we can create a different share classes and set of people representing that share class, and how those capital, and you want to do unitization, or you want to give the NAV at 100 levels, or are you doing a series accounting, or you're doing a fund wise and accounting. So all that is part of a capital reporting. We take care of this capital reporting. Okay. And the performance reports, if you see here, these performance reports mainly about fund against a benchmark. So basically all these AIF funds wants to compare their performance comparing with the benchmark performance. The USP of these funds to be seen, and how they are performing has to be shown to the investors. So that will help us. So we calculate absolute returns, CAGR returns, or XARR returns. So based on the TWRR, time weighted rate of returns. So based on these returns, we can do a fund performance and then show that against how the fund is performing versus the benchmark is performing. Okay.
Just to add to what Praveen said, like, see, these are again like modular in nature. It's not that like everybody wants to calculate an XARR and show it to them. So some AIFs wants to have a custom benchmark, and they want to benchmark against the fund's performance vis-a-vis. And again, all these things are a limited set of reports. Like there are much more reports which go into all these things. Depends on each of the fund category and each of the asset managers requirement.
So there's another question from one of the gentlemen, is how you carry out the category 1 underlying asset prices are not readily available. Yeah, that's category 1 is all about speaks about the angel investments. So angel investments are, you may invest with the startups or you may invest with some credit companies. So where there is no, valuation happens on a frequent basis. So as of now, the cat ones where we are working or where we are servicing, so we get the valuation details, on quarterly basis from the third party valuation. That will be carried out by the company or by that particular, the avenue where the money has been invested in. So based on that valuation, they will be identifying and they will supply that rate to us. For example, if you take recently, so some of the Cat 1 investments are into some ideas on the tech side or in the fintech companies, or these Ola scooters. So these kind of these kind of investments the people has invested into. And yes, we are serving category 1. So if you take the last month alone, we have onboarded almost 500 investors in a span of 1 week through a complete digital onboarding platform. So we do have a digital onboarding platform. So using that, any investor who can invest the 25 lakhs is the minimum ticket size in the category 1, and people has invested into that. So that's we covered the complete Cat 1 related activities.
Yeah. Praveen, you may go to the next slide because we are left with another 7 minutes. Okay.
So I have mentioned these things in the earlier slide. So the performance reports or the MAS report what we provide. That's about the fund accounting features, and we do have one more tool called an iMatch. So the iMatch is something which we use internally. The reason why we are demonstrating iMatch here is, or talking about iMatch is, this is one of the best reconciliation tools which we have. So when we say our operations team does some activities, so we want to highlight that we have some robust systems internally, and using those systems, we perform our activities. So iMatch is one of the systems where it runs automatic reconciliations based on the bank files or based on the custodian files, and compare that with the real banking entries, what has been posted. So the transaction versus the bank books is something which we run here. So this is a complete automation tool which we use it internally for running any kind of reconciliation services. Okay. So the main reason of doing this is, as and when the investor creates a subscription or creates the contribution, so that money has to be realized. Until the money is realized, we will be keeping the transaction in a pending stage. And once the money is cited in the bank books of the fund, only then our team allocates the units or make it as a processed transaction. Till the time it will be in the pending transaction only. So this reconciliation plays a very crucial role, the bank reconciliation, identifying the money and then allocating the units to the investor, and then recording that in the books of the funds in the form of a capital and allowing the fund manager to do the investments. All this is are linked with this reconciliation. So we perform this. At the same time, we also perform the stock reconciliation with your custodians. So every custodian, see, the custodian picture comes into only in case of a category 3 where your investments are into direct equities or in the listed bonds kind of a thing. The custody also maintains the stocks, stock balances, the physical stock balances and logical balances. And KFintech also maintains those balances. So we, as a service provider, we compare that with the balances maintained by the custodian. And in case of any discrepancies, we identify and then we rectify it, so that all the parties, the banking partners, the custody partners, or the broking partners, everyone will be integrated with our services. And KFintech team centralizes these services, interacting with these multiple parties, and make sure that the services are 100% right, and the correct NAVs are declared, or the correct servicing is done to all the investors. So that's the background activities what we perform using our softwares or using our tech capabilities, and we provide the services to all the alternate funds. Senthil?
Yeah. So we'll just wait for a few questions. So meanwhile, I'll just put on a few questions to you. See, you mentioned about participants. If you have any questions, just please put it on the chat window. So we have another 5 minutes. So we'll just address your questions. Meanwhile, Praveen, always, most of the cases, you have bank as a custody. Of course, there are non-bank custodians also, but typically majority are bank-based custody, right? So in this case, like bank does the custody, and we as K FinTech or any other intermediate doing fund accounting. So how there is a seamless integration between the custody and fund accounting team, because these works in two different silos. So that is something which is lingering in most of the minds. So can you just clarify that as well?
Yeah, see the custodians. If I have to refer ICICI or HDFC, some of them Kotak are acting as a custodies for existing equity funds and the debt funds. All the listed instruments basically. So the integration touch points are like as and when the transactions are done in the front office, the file will go from our service. The deal ticket will be raised and will go to the custodies. They will be informed about what kind of transactions we did for the day, and at the same time at the day end, what are all the holdings, final accumulated holdings at the custodian level is taken care in our system. And we also have a provision to display the custody holdings in our systems, in our systems, or whichever we are serving to you as a web access. So in that web portals, you can also see the holdings maintained by our back office, and at the same time, you can retrieve the holdings from the custodian as well. So this will give a very seamless integration, and you will feel like you are integrating with or speaking with only one single partner across this. So these web-based solutions development became so easy these days. Any part of the world or any part of the system who is willing to connect with our systems, we are opening up the doors and having this API integration with different service providers, and with for different reasons, to consolidate the data and show it as a single consolidated view.
Okay.
So even we take care of all the drawdown notices whenever there is a drawdowns you call for. We send the drawdown notices, sending a reminders to them. And in case if they're defaulting, or in case if they are doing a late payments, handling their late payment fees. So these are some of the investor level activities. So today's topic is mostly on the fund accounting, so I didn't cover those things, but all that reflect into a fund accounting entries inside the system at the end of the day.
Okay. So one last question, Praveen, before we just hand it over to our counterparts. So right now, like a lot of action is happening on the Gift City, right? So just maybe like one last question we can just answer on the multi-currency aspect of Gift City fund accounting. Praveen?
Yeah. So the Gift City related things, if you see, the Gift City is something which is
more in terms of like ability to handle multi-currency.
Yeah, multi-currency. Yeah, correct. So the Gift City is the one is very wide open in these days, and a lot of people are launching the funds, seeing seeking the benefits of the Gift City, or investing through a Gift City that goes mostly in the master feeder funds, and you are raising and foreign investors to come through the Gift City funds and investing into the Indian thing. So the Gift City funds, if you're launching a fund, so that should be always US denomination. But whereas the investments, what you're doing are all into the Indian instruments. So there is always a USD versus INR, conversions here. So that requires a complete FX handling, the Forex related handling, and the multi-currency features has to be required. So the funds domicile or the funds reporting currency is USD, but whereas the investment currency is all related to the Indian or any other countries. So these scenarios are completely available in this solution. I guess this is only one of the solutions in Indian market, or the services which we provide from the K FinTech caters to the complete multi-currency features. So the daily valuations of the currencies, taking the closing FX rates, and then maintaining the accounting balances at both the foreign currency and a local currency is all pertaining, is a part of our solution capabilities.
Yeah, Praveen. So thanks audience for patient listening. So we are just almost on the verge of closure. So we can take questions offline.